They resent and are jealous of all of the attention and the shoe deal that she got.
Over Times Square, take a look. This Nike billboard honors the all-time NCAA Division I scoring leader. It features the caption, "This was never a long shot."
It's pretty cool. It's got I feel like it's fever, but it's also Iowa, so you get the best of both worlds. I have another one that you'll probably see me wear later on that is even more fever, so just wait for that one. But yeah, you got the yellow. They look a little similar to the Bruce Lees that I wear, but like still different. I like the gold swoosh. It's the black and yellow. You can't go wrong. It's just the best color. Honestly, I didn't design these ones. I just said, yes, I love them. Please give them to me. So they do their job. They do it really well. So they're pretty cool.
His signature shoe in his rookie season. When can we expect years to bring?
I don't make those decisions, so you have to wait and see.
That's Caitlin Clark talking about her new Nike signature shoe. Black and yellow. Fever colors. And she's casually mentioning another design coming soon. But here's what nobody's talking about. While Caitlin is discussing colorways and gold swooshes, the WNBA just closed a media rights deal worth $3 billion. And connecting those two dots reveals something the league desperately doesn't want you to see. Let's be clear about what's actually happening here. Caitlin Clark signed an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike. That's the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player in history. Her Indiana Fever jersey sold out in every single size on Fanatics. There were rumors she outsold Dallas Cowboys jerseys, the Dallas Cowboys. And yet her WNBA rookie salary, $76,000 a year. You were onto something when you noticed that math doesn't add up. Because while Caitlin is earning $76,000 from the league, experts are estimating her presence alone generates an extra $50 million annually in media rights value for the WNBA. The Wall Street Journal called her the GOAT of TV ratings. Her championship game at Iowa drew 9.9 million viewers. That's not just good, that's transformational. If you believe the story behind the story matters, smash that like button. It tells us we're on the right track. So let's filter out the noise and understand what's really at stake here. The WNBA just finalized new media rights package. Multiple networks are involved: ESPN, NBC, Amazon. The deal is reportedly worth $3 billion over 11 years. That's 6 times more profitable than the previous agreement. 6 times. And many of you have been saying this for weeks. Caitlin Clark's name is all over this negotiation, even if the league won't explicitly admit it. A business executive recently discussed the positive confluence of factors driving women's sports growth, citing Caitlin Clark's Angel Reese, their rivalry, social media followings, and increased ESPN and ABC coverage as key drivers of rising asset values. That executive is being diplomatic. The confluence of positive things: the rise of women's sports, Angel Reese; the rivalry, increased ESPN coverage. But read between the lines. Asset values are going up because viewership is going up. And viewership is going up because Caitlin Clark has made women's basketball appointment television for millions of casual fans who never watched the WNBA before. Here's where it gets uncomfortable for the league. Under the new media deal, maximum contracts might reach $500,000. The salary cap is projected to quadruple. That sounds impressive until you remember the players are currently getting about 20% of league revenue. Even with the new deal, even with quadrupled salaries, the financial structure still massively undervalues the talent driving the growth, especially when one player is generating $50 million in annual media value while earning $76,000. The league will tell you this is about building sustainable growth, about ensuring long-term viability. And sure, those are factors. But connecting the dots reveals a more challenging truth. The WNBA is monetizing Caitlin Clark's effect at a rate that far exceeds what they're compensating her for it. Nike understands her value. $28 million over 8 years. Fanatics understands her value. Sold-out jerseys in every size. Fans understand her value. Driving 23 hours from Canada to see her play. But the league's compensation structure, it's still operating like women's basketball is a niche product that needs to prove itself. Meanwhile, Caitlin's games are outdrawing NBA playoff matchups in certain markets. Her presence fills arenas in every city the Fever visit. Road game attendance has spiked across the league, specifically for games where she's playing. Let's examine what the competitor video got wrong, because this matters. The title claimed Caitlin made $3 billion. That's not accurate. What actually happened is the WNBA secured a $3 billion media rights package, and Caitlin's influence was a massive factor in making those numbers possible. She didn't pocket $3 billion. She's not even getting a significant percentage of what her presence generates for the league.
Clark continues to set the bar when it comes to her impact on female athletics. She's got one of the hottest selling jerseys in sports, y'all, according to Fanatics, led by the one and only Michael Rubin. Clark's Indiana Fever jersey is apparently sold out in all sizes. It was rumored that she actually outsold Dallas Cowboy jerseys, although that hasn't been entirely confirmed, of course, because that would be a feat. But in addition to the jersey sales, Clark now has an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike that will include her own signature shoe. The deal is the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player. She deserves.
A sports reporter recently detailed Caitlin Clark's massive commercial impact, noting that her Indiana Fever jersey sold out in all sizes on Fanatics, with rumors she outsold Dallas Cowboys jerseys. The report highlighted her 8-year, $28 million Nike deal as the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player. $28 million from Nike, the richest deal for a women's basketball player. And she absolutely deserves it. But here's the tension. Nike recognized market value and paid accordingly. The WNBA is still operating under a collective bargaining agreement that treats rookies like they should be grateful for the opportunity. $76,000 while generating $50 million in value. That's not sustainability. That's exploitation with better marketing. Now, before the league defenders jump in, let's acknowledge the complications. The WNBA has operated at a loss for most of its existence. The NBA subsidizes operations. Building financial independence requires careful management of new revenue streams. These are legitimate considerations, but they don't change the fundamental math. When one player's impact on media rights is worth $50 million annually, paying her $76,000 isn't careful management. It's taking advantage of a rookie contract structure that was negotiated before anyone imagined this level of commercial impact. The timing is revealing, too. Caitlin's Nike deal was announced as the media rights negotiations were reaching their conclusion. Nike isn't stupid. They know what they're buying. Access to the most marketable athlete in women's basketball at a moment when her visibility is approaching mainstream celebrity status. The signature shoe launch isn't just about footwear. It's about capturing cultural momentum while Caitlin is still riding the wave from being college basketball's all-time leading scorer. And those shoes, she's talking about Fever colors, black and yellow. The gold swoosh, teasing another design that's even more Fever branded. Nike is building an entire product line around her WNBA identity, not her college legacy, not her Iowa history, her professional team affiliation. That's a calculated bet that Caitlin Clark's WNBA career will justify an 8-year, $28 million investment. Meanwhile, the league that actually employs her is paying 7% of what Nike is paying for the right to put her name on shoes. Think about that ratio. Nike values her endorsement at $28 million over 8 years. The WNBA values her actual basketball performance at $76,000 per year, even accounting for the difference between endorsement deals and salary structures. That gap is staggering. The Fever angle is important here. Caitlin keeps emphasizing the team connection, the black and yellow, the Fever branding. She's not just promoting herself, she's promoting the franchise. And the Indiana Fever's value has skyrocketed since drafting her. Ticket sales, merchandise, national television appearances. The franchise hit the lottery when they won the #1 pick. But here's the question nobody wants to ask. How much of that value increase goes back to Caitlin beyond her rookie scale contract? We're getting into rumor territory, but sources suggest the Fever's franchise valuation has increased by tens of millions since the draft. Not officially confirmed, but the breadcrumbs lead to a situation where a rookie's presence fundamentally transforms a franchise's financial position. And the rookie sees almost none of that upside during their initial contract years. This brings us to Charles Barkley's recent comments that went viral. He called out the league for being petty toward Caitlin, said the players should be thanking her for getting them on private charters, for bringing all the money and visibility. And you know what? He's absolutely right. But it's not just about player attitudes. The institutional structure itself is built to capture Caitlin's value while minimizing her compensation. Drop a comment right now. Do you think the WNBA's salary structure reflects the actual value star players generate? Because this conversation needs to happen publicly. Let's talk about what this $3 billion media deal actually means. Under the previous agreement, the WNBA's media rights were worth about $500 million over 8 years. The new deal is $3 billion over 11 years. That's not incremental growth. That's a fundamental revaluation of the product. And the timing coincides exactly with Caitlin Clark's arrival in the league. The 2023 NCAA tournament, where she broke through nationally. That's when media executives started recalculating women's basketball's ceiling. Her senior year at Iowa produced record-breaking viewership numbers, games that casual sports fans actually cared about. And then she gets drafted first overall to Indiana. And suddenly every Fever game becomes a destination event. Away arenas are filling up specifically to see her play. Television ratings are spiking. The entire league is riding this wave. And Caitlin's getting paid $76,000, while the league negotiates billion-dollar media packages using her impact as leverage. Now, some people will argue that's how professional sports work. Rookie-scale contracts exist in every league. Veterans earn more than first-year players. The system is designed to reward longevity and proven production. Fair enough. But the WNBA's situation is different because the league has never had a player whose individual impact on revenue was this immediate and this measurable. LeBron James entered a league that was already printing money. Caitlin Clark entered a league that was losing money and struggling for mainstream relevance. The social media numbers tell part of the story. Caitlin has millions of followers. Her highlights go viral consistently. Posts about her generate engagement that dwarfs typical WNBA content. Brands want to associate with her specifically, not just with women's basketball generally. That's rare air. Most athletes benefit from their league's popularity. Caitlin is creating popularity for her league. That inverts the typical value equation, and Nike clearly understands this. $28 million means they're projecting she can move significant product. Signature shoes for women's basketball players have historically been risky investments with limited markets. Nike is betting that Caitlin changes that calculation, that her crossover appeal and mainstream recognition create a sustainable sneaker line that reaches beyond hardcore WNBA fans. If they're right, that shoe deal might end up being a bargain. Caitlin Clark has discussed her new Nike signature shoe design, expressing her love for the black and yellow Fever-themed colorway and teasing an upcoming, even more Fever-branded shoe release. She mentioned that while she didn't design these particular shoes herself, she immediately loved them and appreciated Nike's work as a longtime partner. Listen to how she talks about those shoes. The enthusiasm, the appreciation for Nike as a partner, the mention of growing up wearing Nike. That's authentic brand alignment. You can't manufacture that kind of genuine connection, and Nike is leveraging it perfectly. They're not just selling shoes, they're selling Caitlin Clark's story, the kid from Iowa who became the all-time leading scorer, the rookie taking the WNBA by storm, the player who makes basketball look like art. But back to the core issue, the $3 billion media rights deal. Multiple sources are whispering about How much Caitlyn's name came up in those negotiations? Network executives projecting viewership based on her games, advertisers expressing interest specifically in time slots featuring the Fever. The WNBA community is buzzing about whether this deal would have reached $3 billion without Caitlyn's impact on the sport's visibility. If these reports are accurate, the league just secured a package that's fundamentally dependent on one player's drawing power, and that player is earning less than many middle management corporate jobs. The salary cap increase sounds impressive until you examine the details. Quadrupling the cap means more money available across rosters. Maximum contracts potentially reaching $500,000. That's meaningful for top-tier veterans. But rookies on scale contracts, they're still going to be dramatically underpaid relative to their value generation if they happen to be transcendent talents who move television ratings. Here's the part that should concern everyone who cares about women's sports sustainability. If Caitlin Clark becomes disillusioned with WNBA compensation, she has options. Overseas leagues pay significantly more. European teams would absolutely back up the Brinks truck for her. She could focus entirely on endorsement income and play basketball for fun in international markets that actually compensate based on drawing power. The WNBA needs her far more than she needs the WNBA. That's not speculation. That's market reality. Her Nike deal alone provides more financial security than a decade of WNBA rookie contract. And if she decides the league isn't worth the physical grind for $76,000 while they're selling $3 billion media packages on the strength of her popularity, what happens to those television ratings when she's playing in Europe instead of America? Fans have been connecting these dots for months. The comment sections are full of people pointing out the disparity. The anger isn't directed at Caitlin. It's directed at a system that allows her to generate $50 million in value while earning $76,000 in compensation. That's not sustainable. That's not fair. And it's definitely not the message you want to send to young girls considering professional basketball careers. The league office knows this is a problem. They have to. The optics are terrible. Star rookie transforms sports visibility and commercial viability while earning less than many entry-level tech jobs. But the collective bargaining agreement doesn't come up for renegotiation until 2027, so Caitlin will spend multiple years dramatically underpaid relative to her impact. By the time the CBA allows for proper compensation structures, she'll have already generated hundreds of millions in value for everyone else. Nike's timing was smart. Lock her up before the next CBA gives her more leverage. Secure the signature shoe rights while she's still in that mainstream spotlight. Build the product line during her peak visibility years. And probably slip in some clauses that benefit from any future WNBA salary increases. That's how you run a business when you recognize transformational talent. The WNBA? They're running a business like it's still 2015. Like women's basketball is a charity case that needs gentle handling and modest expectations. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is packing arenas, crashing streaming services with viewership demand, and making the league culturally relevant in ways it's never been before. And they're paying her $76,000 for it. This $3 billion media deal should be celebrated. It's enormous progress for women's basketball. It opens doors for better player compensation across the board. It secures the league's financial future. But it also exposes how dramatically the WNBA has undervalued the specific players driving that growth. Caitlin Clark's effect isn't just about basketball quality. It's about marketability, crossover appeal, and the kind of mainstream recognition that transcends sports fandom. And here's what makes this story even more complex. Caitlin hasn't complained publicly. She's been nothing but professional and gracious. Talks about what an honor it is to play in the WNBA. Praises her teammates. Embraces the Fever community. She's not demanding special treatment. She's just playing basketball and letting her performance speak for itself, which somehow makes the compensation disparity even more glaring. If you found value in this breakdown, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're not done covering the Caitlin Clark effect and what it means for women's basketball's future. Because this story is just getting started. The media deal is done. The Nike contract is signed. But the fundamental questions about compensation and value in women's sports, those are nowhere near resolved. Next video, we're diving into the overseas money that's about to start chasing Caitlin. European leagues with unlimited budgets. Chinese teams that pay more than the WNBA's maximum contract. And what it means if American basketball's brightest star decides the money is better elsewhere. You won't want to miss it. Until then, remember this. When someone generates $50 million in value and earns $76,000 in compensation, that's not a business model. That's a problem waiting to explode. And the clock is ticking.